Good morning, fellow Ghanaians. Fellow Ghanaians, we have all been sick before, and we all know about that particular kind of cruelty in being sick. When you feel sick, you're already vulnerable, already frightened, already at the mercy of a body that has stopped cooperating with you. And all you want, all any human being in that condition wants, is to be taken somewhere safe, somewhere clean, somewhere staffed with people who have the tools and the resources to help you fight your way back. That is the basic minimum expectation of a hospital. Hospitals have never been about luxury, just a bit of excellence, just the basic fundamental assurance that the place you have been brought to is better equipped to save your life than the floor of your own home. Fellow Ghanaians, we are not meeting that standard. We are not even close to meeting that standard. In our major public hospitals, patients are now lying on the floor, not in some rural clinics at the end of some dirt road and with no government attention and no infrastructure, but in our major hospitals, in the facilities that are supposed to represent the best of what public health care in this country can offer. Human beings who are sick and scared and in pain are being placed on the floor because there are no beds available to receive them. You have to let that image sit in your head. You don't have to let it go until it makes you angry, because it should make all of us very, very, very angry. Fellow Ghanaians, and then consider Kolebu Teaching Hospital. It is our flagship, the place whose name carry with it the weight of medical authority and the reassurance of serious health care. But just drive past it, walk through it, look at the buildings, look at the paint peeling off the walls, look at the infrastructure that has been neglected and patched, and neglected again across decades of governments that found money for everything except the fundamentals. You do not feel the confidence when you are wheeled through those gates. You feel dread. You feel that particular sinking feeling of a person who is realizing that the place that is supposed to save them looks itself like he has been waiting to be saved for a very long time. That is a building that already compounds your fears. Fellow Ghanaians, a few weeks ago, you know about that story of that man that was hit by a vehicle and left on the road. And then people who came to his aid did what they were supposed to do as humans. They loaded him into an ambulance and drove him to a hospital. And that hospital turned him away. And they drove him to another hospital. And that hospital also turned him away. Then they drove him to another hospital until he died in the ambulance, while the hospitals decided not to take care of him, because the hospitals conducted their bureaucratic debates about whose responsibility he was. At the end of the day, that gentleman died not because medicine could not save him. He died because the system that was supposed to organize medicine on his behalf failed him, particularly and completely without an apology. That man had a name, he had a family, and the manner of his death is a direct indictment of the choices this country has made about what it values and what it does not. Fellow Ghanaians, the government's directive that no public hospital should turn away patients on grounds that there are no beds available is the right directive, and it's long overdue. However, a directive without resources is just words on paper that is moving through an already broken system and changing very little for the people lying on the floor. You cannot instruct hospitals into having beds it does not have. You cannot mandate your way to a functional equipment, to adequate staffing, to buildings that do not look like they have been surrounded to time and indifference. That directive must be the beginning of a serious, sustained, properly refunded and funded retooling, I should say, of every major public health facility in this country. Or it will be remembered as another announcement that made headlines for a week and then dissolved into the list of the things we said and never did. Fellow Ghanaians, this country is not poor. Let us be honest about that. We spend money. We spend enormous amounts of money on things that are difficult to justify when patients are sleeping on hospital floors. We spend on convoys and travels, per diems, allowances, and the endless machinery of political comfort. We find money when the political class decides that something matters enough to fund. And that political class has for a very long time decided that public health infrastructure and public health care does not matter enough, because the political class does not use the same public health care you and I use. The moment a minister or an MP or a government appointee feels unwell, they are on the next available flight to London. or to Accra's private facilities. And the chaos and the filth and the inadequacy of our public hospitals become an abstraction to them, a problem they know exists but have never felt it personally. Fellow Ghanaians, but these leaders have to know something. There is a category of sickness that does not give you time to pick your bag and book a flight. There is a category of medical emergency that finds you wherever you are and demands an immediate response from whatever system is closest to you. Your stroke will not wait for your passport. A cardiac arrest will also not pause while your aides scramble to arrange your travel. A serious accident on a Friday evening will not check your health insurance before it happens to you. And when that moment comes, as it has come for most powerful people before in this country, you will be wheeled into the same hospitals that the rest of us have been trying to survive in. And you will discover at the worst possible moment exactly what it feels like to be at the mercy of a system you chose not to fix, and when you had the power to and the resources to do that. Fellow Ghanaians, the time to act is now. It is not in the next budget cycle, not in the next government, not after the next election, when promises are being made and crowds are being warmed, and everyone remembers briefly that ordinary Ghanaians exist and suffer and deserve better. We need help now, an aggressive, honest, properly resourced retooling of our public health infrastructure, buildings, the equipment, the staffing, the dignity of the spaces where sick people go to recover must become a national priority of the same urgency we would attach to anything else we actually care about as people. Because the measure of how much a society cares about its people is not in the beautiful, flowery political speeches. Sometimes it is in your hospitals. Fellow Ghanaians, we must act like we care, because right now, the flaws of our hospitals are telling a very different story. Good morning, fellow Ghanaians.